Hello, good evening. Welcome to Connect Africa. So it's Mahlet, your host at Connect Africa. So bringing you the latest from the continent. You all know how I am excited and passionate about bringing you news and updating you what's happening in the Sahel states, as nobody is going to do the job for us, not the mainstream media, not even the national broadcasting services of the continent. So for today, we are going to bring you from Burkina Faso that the government of Burkina Faso has received a new representative of Unicef in Burkina Faso. Now, we are going to reveal to you first of all, what is UNICEF, what it is doing, what are the downside of it, and does Burkina Faso need UNICEF right now? Provided that there are things that the government has embarked on that actually tackles the same things that the very UNICEF organization stands for. So we are going to dive in that. But before that, I'm going to share with you the official X page, formerly known as Twitter, page of the Burkina Faso's UNICEF, the UNICEF office in Burkina Faso. So what they have posted with regards to that. So I'm going to read it for you. For example, here there are like a number of posters. It's all today. This Tuesday, 3rd of June 2025, Dr. Chantal Umutoni, the new UNICEF representative in Burkina Faso, paid a courtesy visit to His Excellency Prime Minister Rimitalba Jean Emmanuel Drago. I'm going to do this view. I'm going to fix this view as it is much larger. Just give me a second. So she met the Prime Minister Emmanuel Drago. What else happened? Okay, they have taken some pictures. She brought some guests with her. So the Prime Minister praised the collaboration with UNICEF and reiterated the government's commitment to child well-being in order to sustain the achievements in Burkina Faso. Here are her team. The representative reiterated UNICEF's commitment to supporting the government in implementing high-impact initiatives for the realization of the rights of children, youth, and women. The other is all in French, so I just read you all the three posters that was posted in English. Now, let's look at, first of all, what is UNICEF? I mean, it sounds very cliche, but it's good to look at it to start from there. So UNICEF, it's an acronym that stands for United Nations Children's Fund, while it was initially known as the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. After, I think, since 1953, it has been shortened just as the United Nations Children's Fund, dropping the emergency fund out of it. So it was launched, actually was created. It's one organ of the United Nations. It was created in 1946. Basically, I mean, you all know this I think this is really very new for most of the people. The main reason, just like United Nations was established actually to save the Western world, those who were engaged in World War II, the same thing, this organ was created to save the children in Europe, that were suffering from the consequence or the aftermath of World War II. It's not really, as now it sounds for this generation, that it's like mainly there for Africa and, as they call it, developing countries or third world countries. No, the very creation of this organization is to save people in Europe and at large the Western world. That's why you see any UN organization, the UN itself, the umbrella one and its organ, continue to serve to the interest of the Western world because it's basically created by them and for them. So going on regarding UNICEF, what else I want to tell you? So yeah, it has of course offices almost in all parts of the world, more than 190 countries. So they say they protect children's rights and help them achieve their full potential. Now let's unpack what is the downside of UNICEF. No, let me just put this picture here. Yeah, so the downside, the sides of UNICEF is, of course, it is as much as it is defined and presented to us that it's here to save lives of children in Africa. Some argue that, of course, its image has been damaged due to concerns about its effectiveness and funding. Okay, the way it is using. Another basic thing, what you have to know is that most of those UN organizations, they say, oh, we have pledged this amount of millions of hundreds of millions of dollars to this country, but that money goes, it's more than 90%, it's an overhead cost that goes to its staff. It's only 10% goes to the program, and when it is even that percent goes to the program, they make sure that they are using it, that the beneficiary is from this Western world, who say that they are pledging that money. For example, it could be donating wheat or whatever, or vaccination for the children. Then they sponsor, or they are buying the vaccination that by such and such university or research institute that it is produced, or the farmers from Finland or Ireland or the US, they buy the wheat from them. Maybe it's about to expire. So it's all about, if you really go in deep and evaluate everything, so you see that no cent come to that particular government or country that they're saying they're pledging the money to. So now, another downside of UNICEF is it is perceived, the perception, this media created a certain definition and image in our mind, and even into the children of today. It is like a white savior mentality. That's what it has created. Always these white people come and save African children or children in Asia, but mostly in Africa, right? Even in Europe, if you are living outside of the continent, or in the US, always the UNICEF has that that face of an African child with big belly, very thin body. That is the image of it, right? For example, even YouTube, right? When you open YouTube and you are in a certain Western country, the first thing that UNICEF sometimes, or UN advertises on YouTube channels, just like any channels or TVs, right? So they bring these black children faces from where I live. Even currently, it was so much in my mind that the countries that I am living, every time I open a certain YouTube channel, so the ads that are running by UNICEF or any UN organ are these black faces from Africa with a certain disease, as if that disease that does not exist in any other country outside of Africa. It's like unique to Africa. That's what it seems. It is the image. If you ask your children, they bring it, it could be the young children coming and knocking on your door to ask you money, or your saving, your donation goes to UNICEF, and they put it also on the face of your children at school. It's all about, it has damaged this image of Africa beyond, above all the media misrepresentation that is really has damaged the image of the continent. As if that is not enough, what is being done by the mainstream media, then these organizations come and add, they just fuel this image damaging of Africa. So that is another downside of it. putting white people as creating that white savior mentality where the African communities are just seen as passive recipients of aid rather than active participants in their own development program. And of course, the media coverage and public perception. Now, the way UNICEF's work is portrayed in the media can also, it shapes public perception. Anything that is put by UNICEF has this acceptance by the wider public. So its narrative is more harmful and damaging than what it is actually doing on the ground. So this is where now I laid this foundation to you. What is UNICEF, what it stands for, what are the downside of it. I'm not saying that the upside of it, because what they say is, oh, we're saving children here and we are here for the children's right. Now let's come particularly to Burkina Faso, because this is what we are reporting to you, that they have now new representative in Burkina Faso. By the way, UNICEF office in Burkina Faso has been there since 1995. Now, if it's about Children's Fund, what did Burkina Faso has achieved? What does Burkina Faso has achieved with regards to children? Burkina Faso is a country that really has achieved more than what UNICEF achieved in any country, because when it comes to children education, this country now has free education for all its citizens. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there's a free childbirth in Burkina Faso for all mothers, okay? If you are also coming from a health point of view, right? That is number two. So if these two things are achieved in Burkina Faso, not only there is free education, but also the government is trying to capacitate the young people who are graduating from universities so that they will get a job. For example, if they study agriculture, they will be granted the land. They are encouraged manufacturing in terms of health, this and that. They are doing everything in their capacity and doing better actually after they have cut their ties from particularly their previous colonial power, namely France and others, after they have kicked out the military, and also they have closed NGOs. In fact, I'm going to read for you. There was a certain not advertisement, a stance or a directive, let's say, that the government of Burkina Faso has distributed back in February this year, and I'm gonna read it to you. The Burkinabe, I'm reading this from them, okay, from the government. The Burkinabe government has ordered the immediate suspension of any non-governmental organization, NGO, or association operating without authorization, and issued a directive mandating that all NGOs and associations operating within the country must obtain prior permission from central and regional authorities before conducting any activities. And I continue from the directive. This decision, communicated in a statement from the Ministry of Humanitarian Action, underscores the need for tighter control for NGO operations. The directive cited concerns over the unregulated activities of NGOs, which, according to the government, are operating in the field without prior clearance. The statement highlighted the security risks associated with anarchic services provided by unauthorized organizations. All right. Okay, that's the statement. Now, I know that you are going to come at me and you are going to ask me, okay, this is the Prime Minister of Burkina Faso welcoming this representative. And I mean, aren't they, isn't it a fallacy, right? now, NGOs, it's an international NGO, the United Nations. So this is one organ. They haven't closed that door, but the government is actively controlling, because this, what's happening in most of the countries where these UN organizations are operating is that they collaborate. First of all, they work with the government, and even when they work with the small local NGOs, then those NGOs now are controlled by the government, how they are going to portray the community of Burkina Faso or the people of Burkina Faso. So if there is anything that is not in line with what the government is promoting, so I believe that the government still has a control over it, and I don't think. I also personally do not believe that. Oh, okay, they have to kick out UNICEF. They can be there, but they have to show them that this is Burkina Faso, and first and foremost they have to listen to the government of Burkina Faso, and they have to operate UNICEF or any UN organ according to the law, the rules and regulations of the country. And so far what we have seen has actually approved that. When any international media, like all those French media, Jeune Afrique, TV5, and others, have been closed. France 2024 have been closed because they were not in line with what the government is doing. So also NGOs have been kicked out from French NGOs and others. So I am sure that Burkina Faso's government will apply the same, will do the same. Now, I will just give you a quick background of these UN humanitarian organizations in general, how they work. Not only Burkina Faso, but to many African countries, because what they are doing is actually there is this protracted international humanitarian presence in Africa. For example, they say, okay, this year the children in Burkina Faso need this amount of children have been displaced because of what? The war that the government is having with terrorists. I think that is the area maybe they are going to do. Otherwise, for those who are living peacefully, I mean, the government has already granted free school in all over the country. So this protracted international humanitarian presence should be a concern to Burkina Faso and to all organizations. If they are there to achieve a certain program, then they cannot come again and again to advertise that we have this problem, this humanitarian crisis in Burkina Faso, and we are asking money from the Western government. No image of any Burkinabe child should be used to beg money from the Western world, because this country is doing tremendously well in terms of development, right? So that should be controlled not only by Burkina Faso, but other African countries. As you know what kind of heads of states or governments we have, so they really don't care. But the fallacy of it is that every time, for example, the UN humanitarian aid, UNHCR, we call it, or was it humanitarian organization? Yeah, UNHCR. When they come, they say, oh, okay, for example, Rwanda or DRC needs this amount of money, hundreds of millions. And then another year come, in year 2026, the money, and again, the people who are victims, the number just increases. Now, what it shows you is actually the presence of that UN organization in that country has not impacted positively to those who are victims if the numbers continues to increase. Well, by definition, this means that this UN organization is irrelevant and worsening the situation. So you have to close office and you have to leave the country. That's what they need to be told. So these are the things I want to give you, just as a basic background. And the other thing is that in general what the UN does with all its organs, whether it is for human rights or humanitarian crisis or whatever, it's always portraying an African image in the name of crisis, genocide, this kind of disease and this and that. And it's, look at it as a big international organization that is playing. Oh my God, the cat just scared me. I'm sorry. But yeah, so what they're doing is that there's this big international organization that is working permanently to promote the worst of the continent, right? So how come you have, when you have, how come you have an economic development when there is this kind of organization promoting bad, and promoting and exaggerating the situations in the continent and giving it a bad image continuously? No tourism, nobody want to come and invest as well. So there are those also downsides one has to look at. Anyway, that was it for now. I go on and go on, when the issue of international organization comes, particularly UN. Let me just end it there. And thank you very much again for tuning in. You have seen it all live. So yeah, let me just give a quick shout out or see if there's any question. Amos Lotaz, Freedom TV, who else is there? Osman Nae, the last emperor. Why do they even entertain this? Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I have said it. I cannot deny that the cat really wants to be here with my channel to present. Oh my God, I'm sorry about this. Yeah, so you have, I really don't think the door has to be closed, okay? But they just have to control the situation, how they are operating and what kind of thing they are portraying when it comes to Burkina Faso. Yeah, I don't know. I think at least that is my take. Search about Eritrean Kulu Dahari Hagar. What do I search about Eritrea? Just so let me know. I believe that the reason is geopolitical interests. It could be so because they have used them, these international organizations, as working their dirty work. Now that the embassies are gone, like for example the French diplomats, and they will use any type of thing, to do their espionage in Burkina Faso. Well, it's not about controlling the situation, rather a propaganda to lead a narrative for foreign. Yeah, that too. All right, thank you again, and thanks for tuning in. Please let us know in the comment section what do you think of this, if there's or any country situations that you want us, if you want to share any experience from any other African country. And yeah, please share the video with other supporters through our PayPal account, Buy Me a Coffee link, and with our super chat and super sticker. So I will see you on the next one. For now, it's a bye-bye from me. Ciao.